JKB back with another episode. Today on the show, I'm reviewing my top 5 PS2 scratch discs. No, I'm not. I'm doing Rise of the Tomb Raider. Holy shit. Rise of the Tomb Raider is fucking incredible. Let me just get that out of the way. And thank you so much to Microsoft for sending over this review copy that I will be playing over and over and over. Unfucking believable. Let's get into the review, and thank you so much for watching. It means the world to me. It actually does mean the world to me. Let's do this. Rise of the Tomb Raider follows Lara Croft as she searches Siberia for an ancient city, which Lara believes holds some sort of truth behind immortality. In a race against Trinity, a well-funded organization interested in the supernatural, Lara must survive against humans, animals, and the environment in order to find the truth behind the myths and become the hero who she's destined to be. I really do feel like they watched James Bond before they designed the enemy types in this, and especially the main villain. The main villain in this, I'm not going to give too much away, but he's got that, just a hint, just a little bit of hint of over the top. Like out of a James Bond, a classic James Bond film, but it's in the Daniel Craig James Bond where he lives. And I love that. I love the fact that you question, what is he? What? I don't get this. And he's got a motive to why he wants to find this relic. And Lara Croft wants the same relic as he does, but she wants to use it for a different reason. And it's very hard to explain to you what I'm talking about without giving anything away, but I'm keeping this spoiler free, so I'm just going to say enemy types are dynamic. They do definitely find you when you hide in bushes. After a certain amount of time, they will find you in that bush. They will find you underwater. They will have dialogue saying, we should check up in the trees because, we heard that she killed a whole bunch of people in the last camp from above. So they do look up and they will notice you. And I thought, whoa, this is actually next gen. I'm super happy with enemy types, and I'm so happy with that James Bond feeling. But in saying that, it is Tomb Raider, so it does have, obviously, that, just that Tomb Raider feel that you can't get anywhere else. Maybe in Uncharted, but that's a different story. I absolutely love the setting of the game. Siberia is a cold, dark, dangerous place, and the team clearly put a lot of effort into the environments. From the top of a snow-covered mountain to beneath a glacier, the game doesn't let up with its beautiful vision of Siberia. And at the end of the game, I knew I had overlooked so many different paths and secret tombs that I wanted to jump right back into the game. The level of design is beautiful and truly next generation. The setting is perfectly tied into the amount of choice you will have this time around in this game. There is so much more emphasis on tomb raiding this time around. I am so happy to say that the tombs are back and they're optional. You don't even need to go in some of them, but I highly suggest it's kind of part of the reason why you're playing a Tomb Raider game, to raid the tombs. Unbelievable. And it comes down to time of day. How much have you been crafting? How much have you been hunting? All of these questions come down to if you're going to go into a certain tomb, because it might have a bear in it. A fucking bear that wants to rip your neck out. It might have a pack of wolves that you need to clear out, and you need to think, what's the smartest way to do this? Do I equip arrowheads that have a poisonous gas that will engulf the wolves and then, stab them in the neck with my knife? What do I do here? Do I shoot them in the face? Do I use my shotgun? So many different gameplay options happen in these tombs. And then you get to the sweet spot of a tomb and you're left with an amazing puzzle. There was never a moment in the game where I was like, I'm frustrated because these puzzles are stupid and ridiculous. Some games have shit design and you're frustrated because it's horribly designed. This is the other side of that. You are horribly just frustrated at times, but you sense there's a reason for that. It's because you as a player are not smart enough to figure out what they've created. And what they've created in these tombs are amazing goddamn puzzles. Using your hook shot, using your rope on the end of an arrow to be able to pull things towards you, to be able to tie things to other things that will be sent off cliffs, so it will pull that rope and open up a door. I mean, I don't want to give too much away about the tombs, but holy shit, tombs are back. If I had to rate just the tombs, they're all amazing. All of them. Every single one you go into, you're like, is this going to be a small tomb? No. This is another thing. They're huge. Some of them are goddamn huge, and the level of detail, holy shit. Hunting has become a very important part of this game and your journey within the game. You'll need it to hunt to upgrade your tools and weapons. You'll need to collect wood for your arrows. You'll need to collect poisonous mushrooms to create arrowheads that will explode and cause a poisonous gas to surround your target. It's very important. I highly suggest, if you get this game, to do a ton of hunting. It's very important that you hunt in this game. So in the first couple of missions, you are forced to hunt to survive, and it teaches you how to basically take down trees, how to jump up trees, of course, but also how to use the trees as your leverage to take down a deer or take down a rabbit, or also escape a fucking bear that wants to eat your face, or a pack of hungry wolves that want to also eat your throat. These are important things in Tomb Raider now, and the hunting is way up there in what you really want to concentrate on at the beginning of the game, because it's almost kind of survival horror-ish. I mean, there's parts where it's scary, but survival. Let's talk about that quickly. If you don't collect these things further into the game, you'll be shit out of luck, especially when you want to upgrade certain abilities on your weapons or in your tools, or you want to simply craft a certain type of ammo. Trust me, you need to start hunting early. Get all those supplies. Level up, it's super important. Crafting is tied directly into hunting. Crafting is super important as well. It basically is tied into the hunting aspect of this game. If you don't do the hunting, you can't do the crafting. So once you've collected a ton of materials, you can craft those into tons of different things in the game. And again, I really do feel like, because this game is so good, I don't want to give away the details of what you'll come across, because you'll be very surprised. But I also want you to know, I guess I could say, there's a ton of different things you can end up crafting. And I'm talking about different ammo types that are it just gets to the point where you're like, this is a lot of stuff and a lot of choices. And this is where the gameplay comes in, and you start to sense, I can really play this at my own pace and play it how I want. Do I want to shoot someone in the face with a gun? Yes, shotgun, I can do that. Do I want to use my bow and arrow with, I don't know, a poisonous tip that explodes and engulfs them in gas? Yes, maybe. There's so many choices. The game is set up as a massive world that is cut up into big sections. You'll travel between these sections via your campsites. You'll also use the campsites for upgrading Laura and her weapons and tools. Building upon the previous game and taking cues from other franchises, Laura can now swim underwater, hide in foliage, and climb trees. The game has clearly been designed with stealth in mind, so you can kind of get the drop on an enemy by scurrying up a tree and dropping down and stabbing them in the neck, or lurking in a bush. Or you can choose to avoid combat altogether by staying out of sight. Now I gotta say this, enemies will talk to each other and talk about previous events and warn each other. She could be in the trees, she could be in a bush. It is so well thought out and so well designed. Let's talk about expeditions for a second. This is a mode that's outside of the main campaign. You go into it and you have game modifying cards. So these game modifying cards are purchased via the marketplace, and that's with in-game coin that you've collected from the main campaign, but also microtransactions. You can buy these packs straight up. And this is, again, there's a ton of different cards. It's a lot like Halo 5, where you'll get weapons, permanent cards, special cards that'll make you stronger, cards that make enemies constantly on fire, or, big head mode on the enemies and Laura. But the point of this is, it adds a replay value to it that I haven't seen in a game before. I love these mod cards. I absolutely love them, but I hate the microtransactions. So, yes, I highly suggest to spend a lot of time in this after, because it's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun collecting these. It kind of reminded me of Crackdown, collecting the orbs, but you go through one of the missions from the main campaign and you have to collect a certain amount of orbs in a certain amount of time, and the highest score gets posted on a leaderboard with your friends and worldwide. So that's the multiplayer aspect. You can do time trial, you can do all sorts of things in these expeditions, and you could set it up at whatever level you want. And you can go back to the store and open up new cards. Now, there'll be a ton of new cards as we go forward. I heard over the next 3 months they're going to add like, I don't know, 4, I don't know what's coming, but more cards are coming. And of course, microtransactions. In closing, microtransactions are just some way to make more money from a game. I'm not fully against them, but they're cheap and useless to me. As a gamer, I want to go back and play the game because I want to replay the game and get all of these things unlocked and get that sense of achievement. But if you're a cheap player and you just want to play the game because it's fun, you can go and spend more money. Have fun with that. Rise of the Tomb Raider is designed to let you play at your own pace. You'll rarely be forced into a certain gameplay type, and that's what makes this game worth playing. The gameplay is designed with the player's emotions in mind. You'll have moments you've come to expect in a Tomb Raider game. These moments of terror when the floor gives out and you have a split second to grab onto something. But at its heart, the game is simply about her journey to find the truth. And in doing so, you'll get to play one of the best games of the year. The ability to have so much choice in a next generation title is really what makes this game one of the best of the year. The pacing is so perfect, and the ability to go in there guns blazing or to go overhead, but always have that sense of danger, that sense of, I will be found out if I sit in this bush too long. You can no longer rely on lazy video game design because these enemies will see you in a tree, they will see you in the bush, they will see you hiding under the water, they will see you just below the ice if you're underwater and you're sort of sitting there. And you can get upgrades that allow you to pop out like Rambo. It's so fucking cool, and just pull them into the water and drown them, and it just keeps going. The gameplay and the pacing and the story all work hand in hand to create an experience that is just unbelievable, and I'm so happy I got to play this game.
Will you tell me more about this place?
You've earned that much.
Let's get to the final score. Somehow this game figured out perfect pacing. It's very hard to do in an action-adventure game, especially when you give the player gameplay choices such as this, telling them, listen, you don't need to go at our pace, go at your own pace. But it all jives together well, to the point that I consider it to be perfect. It's unbelievably paced. It will leave you in moments, exhilarated for almost falling off a cliff, and then in moments where you're simply just hunting and having a good time, you're in those moments as well. It jives so well together. The gameplay choice in this game is unbelievable. They've stepped it up. The bar is definitely up there now in terms of gameplay and the stealth mechanics. I didn't play Metal Gear 5, but I'm guessing this is a lot like that. Again, you can't just sit in a bush. You can't just sit in a tree. The enemies will find you. The story, though, this is the thing. The story is not amazing. It's not going to blow your mind away. Is it decent? Yes. Is it above average? Yes. Is it as good as the first Tomb Raider? Absolutely. Something was a little missing. Just a touch. So, yeah, there's that. And in closing, the replay value is amazing in Expeditions. To be able to go back there and challenge your friends if you're that type of person, unbelievable. Especially with the card modifiers that change the game up drastically for you. It makes it a fun new experience. Again, even though you've played it for 40 hours now, it's still going to be fun to go back and see things that are just over the top, like a bow and arrow that shoots chickens. That's in the game. Another thing, after I beat the main story, I thought, how am I going to go back into the game? So it actually has a continue option, and you go into it, and it's sort of this just what happens now. And you see Laura sitting with one of the main characters, and they're talking, and she's just like, there's still a lot to do, but things have changed considering on what's happened now, and maybe you can help us with that. So you're like, what? They've changed? This is still main storyline, but the main storyline's over? This is fucking amazing. So you go back into the game, and you can go back and basically finish all those side missions, those caves, those tombs. It's an amazing experience that I truly feel is next generation. And tons of people always ask me, is it next generation? Is it next generation? Yes, this game is simply one of my top 5 games of the year. I give it a 9.5 out of 10, and there's hardly anything wrong with it. The music's amazing. The story is what really doesn't make it a perfect game. If the story was over the top, just fucking amazing and blew my mind, this would be a 10 out of 10. I'm being serious. It's fucking amazing. But I have to give it a 9.5 because it isn't perfect because of that story. But everything else in this game works well. And there was nothing, absolutely nothing over the 15 hours of the main campaign that I noticed that made me angry or made me, disappointed. Nothing. 9.5 for Tomb Raider. Highly, highly, highly suggested, even though it comes out the same day as Fallout 4, which is a whole other review that will be coming to my channel. Thank you so much for watching this. I really appreciate the support, and if you were a huge fan of the original Tomb Raider on Xbox or PS4 last year, yes, unfortunately, it's a timed exclusive on Xbox One at the moment, but it will be coming to PC and PS4 in 2016, apparently. I don't know the details to that because they haven't told us, but in closing, this is a game you must play. Absolutely play it. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys very, very soon.